arguably is playing the best of any team that we played this year. Probably the best of anybody in the Mountain West right now. I know their head coach for a long time. It's his 5th year. He's a heck of a football coach, but a better man along with that. But they have a senior veteran-laden football team, and they're playing very well right now. You watch them, they know who they are, and they execute at a high level. Certainly we need to play better than what we did last week. We're going to work really hard in practice to correct the correctable mistakes that we have. I think you'll see some different guys in our lineup, mainly our quarterback. Cam will practice today, and so we're encouraged about that. And we did come through a physical game against Colorado State. We had some injuries, but I think we came through the game fairly healthy. Colorado State took it to us, particularly in the first half, but I thought our guys responded better in the second half. However, I want to be real clear. You play an entire football game. Let's not get into trying to have rose-colored glasses on, but there were some good things that we did in the second half. So at this time, I'll open up to any questions that anybody might have.
Craig, you said Cam will practice today. Does that mean you expect him to play, or do you still got to see what he can do in practice, or do you expect him to be ready to go?
Yeah, I would be surprised if he were not starting. Tanner Gentry will not. But I want to be real clear on this. I'd be surprised if Cam doesn't play. He was able to play last week before the game, and so he'll take reps in practice today.
I know these last few games, and it's happened even in the season where you get off to tough starts defensively and get down, 2 touchdowns or 3 scores or whatever. Have you, looking at film, you've been able to pinpoint some reasons for that, or what are some of the things you're going to try to do to work on that?
Yeah, I cut you off there. That's been frustrating. When you look against Colorado State in the first drive, we pulled up a 3rd down and long, and then we had a blown coverage that allowed them to convert on 1st down. Then we just didn't do a good job in the running game. So we're going to work really hard defensively on starting faster. We'll do some pinpointed things in practice that are aimed towards that. Some of it is some growing pains that we're going through, even though it's late in the year. You still have, I'm going to be real guarded not to call out a guy or 2 here or there, but we need to start out better there. And then the other thing, Robert, was become painfully apparent. We weren't able to move the football against Colorado State, sustain any drives. And for us to win that game, we needed to win the turnover margin, generate and create some takeaways, which we did not do. That many times is a product of a defense that's trying to find their way. They're not playing aggressively, not ball hawking, not ball stripping, not gang tackling. They're trying to just figure out where they're supposed to be. And then we need to take a better job, do a much better job taking care of the football. I think the number of turnovers that we had in the game, there was no way we were going to beat a good football team like Colorado State. And they had flipped. Their nemesis had been turning the ball over. Coach Bohl had joked that they were going to run the ball 3 downs and punt. But they did a nice job taking care of the football. We did, so we've got to correct that.
Coach, you mentioned trying to start more quickly. How do you go about doing that? It's obviously been especially defensively, been a challenge the past handful of weeks.
Well, without making any smart aleck comments, I'll just be real frank with you. We need to make sure our guys are in position to where we prevent big plays. That the plays that have occurred, either there's been many times they have not been like a double reverse pass where you trick somebody. They've been plays that have popped in the running game, and so we got to make sure that our pursuit angles were there. We had thought that we had made some progress, and what we got to do is come up with a couple stops, and typically that's not by trying to invent something new and outside the box. The defense play the defense that you know how to play.
You mentioned you've known Rocky Long for a long time. He likes to run the ball. They're very physical, and they it looks like it's much the same. And they got 2 pretty good running backs. Could you kind of describe what you kind of see in there on film from their run game?
I think I can see a real clear vision. Like I said, known Rocky Long a long time. And there's principles of football that he personally believes in, and I think their football team has taken on the characteristic of their head coach. That's not to say the head coach is out there playing, but first of all, offensively, it starts with a huge offensive line. They're big, strong guys. If you look at their numbers, they're all over 3 bills. They move well. They've got a throwback fullback, Dakota Gordon, who is a very intense player, does a great job blocking. They've got 2 good running backs, and so you're looking at a downhill running style football team. As I watch them schematically, it doesn't matter where you position guys or how many guys you put down there. They've made up their mind they're going to run the football at you, make you like it. And those are dangerous type of football teams, and that's one of the reasons why I think they're successful. On the flip side, however, their quarterback is very capable, transfer from Kentucky, and he's a 6'5" guy that's got good mobility. He throws the ball on a rope. They've got a couple good wide receivers. And so to say that you're just going to do everything against a run and completely sell out and not have anything in the passing game, they can hurt you there. They can hurt you with jet sweeps. But their tailback is exceptional, and his yardage proves it. And then what they have, what we're not in position right now, is just 2-1-2 hitters. And so that poses another problem. But, you know, you're looking at a product of a 5th-year plan where they've recruited to that plan. As I said, they know who they are, they have a clear vision, and they're executing at a really high level.
Coach, what's it like facing a team? They're on a 5-game winning streak with that sort of confidence that they have.
Well, it's a daunting task, quite frankly. You know, as we come in as coaches, you start watching the tape and you look for weaknesses, and you don't see very many weaknesses. And you also recognize where your football team's at. You know, you came off a very disappointing physical loss against Colorado State. You say, okay, how are you going to respond? And I can tell you this, as a coaching staff, we've got a plan we believe is successful to win the game. We're going to impart that on our players today. And our team has been unbelievably resilient. I have really enjoyed and loved how these guys have gone out and practiced. Now, the losses, they hurt, and they're going to hurt. But how you do this, Ryan, is you come up with a plan and you impart that plan to your players with enthusiasm. They've bought in with confidence, and then you go through the week of preparing to go out to win the football game.
Coach, you talked about San Diego State's offense. Rocky, kind of known for his defenses, and it seems like this defense has come a long way here in the last month. What have you noticed maybe that's kind of changed from early on to now?
Well, they play very fast. They do a lot of very aggressive blitzing schemes, and as a result of that, they're fast. They play with a great deal of recklessness. So I think that becomes very disruptive, and quite frankly, that becomes disruptive for a young offensive line, which we have. And so that's another daunting challenge that we have. I think you're right. Rocky's an old defensive coach. Maybe that's why he and I have known each other a long time. But you cross paths on different schools and things like that. And I've appreciated how he's operated. And he's stayed engaged in the game. And their defense is playing at a really high level right now.
You mentioned the team's resilience so far this season and their confidence level. How do you think they've been able to keep that up? Is that a team thing? Is that something that you impart on them, or is that an individual battle?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, because it's easy to go out and be resilient and play with confidence when you're winning football games. As a coaching staff, we've been accustomed to that for many years, and what we can attribute that to is the high character, particularly of our older senior players, who've provided a great deal of leadership, and our younger players have bought in. I think along with that, beyond the older players, I think the underlying classes that have come in, these young men have come in to make a stamp on Wyoming football, and they didn't come here to lose all the time. And they recognize that losing sucks. And they also understand, they believe in the coaches that, you know what, the best way to do it is to go out and work hard. And if, you know, the best way to cheer yourself up is cheer everybody else up around you, and go out and practice with enthusiasm. So you have two parts. You have some older players, like OC and Eddie Yarborough and Cam Kaufman. Then you've got a whole lot of younger players that are really wanting to make a difference here in Cowboy football. And they're not giving up. I can tell you that it was not a fluke that we scored in the second half and we held Colorado State to 75 yards. That wasn't a fluke. Now, I also understand that, you know, games change during the course of the game. Coach Bohl is going to make sure he wins the game and not pull out all the stops. But there's fight in this football team, and that fight and that resiliency is the thing that's going to keep on pushing on and allowing us to lay a great foundation for the future.
Coach, obviously one of your bright spots has been Brian Hill. What is it just been like, you know, watching his year progress as he closes down that school record?
Well, Brian is a very unselfish football player. He's a very talented football player. What makes it gratifying as a head football coach is when you see somebody go out and compete and play with great tenacity, but be unselfish. If Brian were a guy that had 2 carries or 33 carries, he'd be the same guy, whatever the team needs. The other thing that we've appreciated about Brian is you have guys that, okay, they're competitors. He's an ultra-competitive person. He's a dominator. And now, we didn't give him a lot of room to run last week, and we need to create some more holes to run, but he's always moving forward. He's his own worst critic when he fumbled. I mean, that really hurt him. Some backs, they don't care as long as they have their yards, and that's another thing we've appreciated about Brian. But I can tell you, he's got a rare combination of speed, power, elusiveness, and he's unbelievably tenacious.
Where does he stack up as far as other backs you've been around during your coaching career?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, and somebody had asked me to make some comparison. His running style, and there's only probably about, maybe I'm looking around the room, maybe 2, maybe 3 people that would recognize his name, a guy named Roger Craig. You weren't probably born then, but a very talented runner, and I mean, he's a slasher, he's a hard-nosed guy. I think the sky's the limit, and we're going to keep on putting weight on him and keep on pounding him, I know that. Every time we pull him back on anything in practice, where we pull him out of a drill, he's angry. I mean, he's mad that he cannot go in there and compete. And, he doesn't want to be babied, and so I think he's got a really bright future, and we're in hopes that this Saturday's another breakout game for him.
Craig, I know this week is about this.
First of all, let me stop and ask a question. Who's heard of Roger Craig in this room? Okay.
He's Googling it. I can see it.
Okay, yeah.
Some of us don't play.
Yeah.
I know this week's about this game, but I know you and your staff recruiting in California quite a bit. Will you send some coaches out? And is it nice to play games in California because that is a place where you recruiters? Do you really care about that at this point?
No, yeah,
right?
we always care about that. We've been actively, we've taken an active plan in the last 2 years, Robert, and our guys have burned midnight hours. They've run off the practice field, caught planes early, been on the sidelines. The fruits of those efforts and the financial commitment from the administration to recruit is showing. This will be another case of that, and so you'll see us strategically be on the sidelines on Friday night. We play a Saturday night game. I know it means for a lot of coffee for a lot of these coaches, but that's what you do. If you're building a program, you do that more than just look at huddle tape. You get out there, you get in coaches' ears, and you see who really makes a difference. So playing on the West Coast makes a difference, and playing in the Mountain West Conference makes a difference.